Hi everyone, it is Kari. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. For today's video, I wanted to do my next installment in the Keeping It New with Kari series. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to be featuring a certain stamp set or a certain die set. In fact, we're actually going to be doing stamping just with inks. And the inks that I'm going to be using today are my Memento Dewdrop inks. Now, I have had these Memento Dewdrop inks for several years now, probably in the very beginning or close to the beginning of any time that I started my crafting. And I keep them in this clear plastic container. I don't know if you can still find them, but currently they are in this container here from Doris. It is a container made for your jewelry making supplies, and you can actually find that in the jewelry making section of your local Walmart, or should be able to. I'm hoping you can, because I feel like this is a game changer when it comes to storing these particular inks, because they're such an odd in size. Most of our little inks now are the little squares, and those fit in here obviously as well too, because I have my little distress inks in here as well. So I've got 3 different containers of the inks with these types of containers. But what got me started with these is Memento inks here. And I thought it would be fun to get these out, play with them once again, bring them back to life, because they are such a great ink and they don't get as much love as they should in my craft room. So for today's video, I wanted to do a little something different. I've chosen 2 different colors of my Memento inks here. And we're going to be doing some stamping directly onto paper with these inks. We're not going to use a stamp set. We're just going to use just these inks. Now, as far as sentiment goes, I may use a specific stamp set later, but for the focus of this video, it's just going to be about the inks and just doing a little stamping with them to get a different look on your card. So, a couple of things I wanted to, I don't know if disclose is the word, but I will say right off. This is basically by eye. Now, if you are one of those people that like to have precision on your card, you know, whether it's, you know, exactly even on all 4 sides or whatever, then that's great. Then you can plan for that. I personally am not one of those people. I mainly kind of eyeball things, and sometimes I get it right and it looks pretty perfect, and then other times not so much. So the whole purpose of this video is just to get the inks out, do something fun and different with them, and revive those inks that I haven't used in a while in my craft room. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we're kind of going for today, I was kind of experimenting prior to starting the filming of this video, and like I said, some of these are perfect, or not perfect, but they're, you know, pretty good, and then others not so much. So that's what gave me the idea, because I just got these inks out and just started kind of playing with them, and that's what brought me to my idea today. So you've got where you can do obviously all sorts of patterns and colors. My very first one that I did was on this die cut circle that I had already previously done, and I really didn't like it too much, so I turned it over just to practice, and this is what I came up with, and that's how my idea started to brew. So I think we're going to do something sort of similar like this today, but you can all do all kinds of patterns. So I've got this one here. This is probably my favorite one, so we're probably going to do something a little bit like this today, and I'm just doing them on you know, scraps of cardstock that I already have in my craft room. Again, these are practice rounds, if you will, just to see what I can come up with. So I like these 2 colors here, the Tangelo and the Rosebud, and I think I want to start off with the Tangelo. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in just a little bit so you can, I don't want to get too close, but I want you to be just far enough to where you can see what I'm doing. Now, I apologize now, because I may have to have my head directly over my cardstock here to get it, you know, as even as I possibly can, because I do want this to be, you know, fairly good, you know, and separation or whatever, if you will. But I'm also, you know, for the most part, I have discovered I'm a clean and simple, more or less, card maker. So I'm going to probably just do like one image or whatever on one cardstock, and then set it aside and do another one for you guys to do with the other color, and then we'll figure out a sentiment later on. So let's go ahead. I think I said like I like this particular one here. And it's got, let's see, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Yeah, 8 petals on it. I'm going to call it petals because it looks like a flower. So what I'm going to do is kind of start, I do want to make sure that I get, you know, a pretty good area to where I can get my ink pad, you know, where I won't cut them off of the cardstock. So I'm going to kind of start in this area here, and then let's see, so I'm just going to start off by doing kind of 4 corners here, if you will. So, and I'm giving, you know, pretty decent pressure, I guess. So we got that corner, going to turn it around. Like I said, if I get my head in the way, which I probably will, I apologize. Let's see. There's 2. So it didn't turn out too bad. It's a little bit of elongated flower. So what I like to do now is take my Memento ink in Dandelion, and we're going to go ahead and take an ink dauber, and I'm just going to ink up my ink dauber, and I'm just going to, since this is like a perfect circle, I'm just going to make a perfect circle here. Sorry for the noise. My kitties are trying to get in here, and they've been kind of bad, so I'm not going to let them in. So that's kind of what we're going to end up with, is that flower there. Like I said, you know, it's kind of elongated. You know, it's not bad. It's kind of growing on me. So we'll worry about a sentiment here in just a moment and kind of cut it down and, you know, really make it into a really pretty card. So we'll set that aside to dry. Now we're going to work on a different pattern, because I do want to get a little bit of variety. So for this one, I'm going to do kind of like a full like geometric shape here. Okay, so for this one, I think I want to do straight in the middle. And I'm just going to kind of turn this at an angle here. And I'm just going to start stamping. I am going to use my guides here just to attempt to get this symmetrically, you know, in place. And I think what I'm going to do is create a dark green center there. So I'm going to use Cottage Ivy and my ink dauber here. Ink up my stamp. Just kind of place that in the middle there. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do from here is add some white highlights. So I think I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pick out a couple of sentiments. We'll put on the finishing touches to our cards, and then we'll be all done. But let me go ahead and pick out a sentiment or two. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut down my panels, and I decided to just use a straight rectangle die for this one to cut it down. And I also added some stitching at the bottom, since this is relatively obviously the flower. I'm going to put it in this corner. I originally stamped it in this corner, but I think I'm going to keep it in this corner, turn it around, but I like the stitching, and that stitching comes from the Lawn Fawn stitched border. And you can obviously take these apart, you know, with your wire snips or whatever, but I just keep them together just for, you know, that extra added fun stitching. So it's been a while since I've used that die, so I thought it would be fun to add that extra stitching on that one. And then this one, I just took an Avery L die. This is coming from their Finished Frames die set, and it just has the diagonal stitching all the way around. It kind of cuts it down and literally has this in the middle. So now what I'm going to do is work on the sentiments. The sentiment stamp set that I'm using is the one from My Favorite Things called Greetings and Salutations. This is one of my favorites recently. And I'm going to use the Well Hello sentiment as well as the Congratulations. And I'm going to go ahead and prep my scrap piece of black cardstock here. And I'm just going to put these on my block. And then I'm going to cut these out with the Skinny Strips Die-namics. So I'll make sure that I have, let's see, let me go ahead and grab the die set. I always keep the die set out, so we'll put that one there. And I want to line them up to make sure that I can cut them out in one pass instead of having them, this is kind of place down the die set here and then kind of put these over top. So I'll do that one on my flag end, and I'll put this one right there in the middle, and then I'll just go ahead and pick these up with my block, and that way it'll be perfectly lined up. So now I'm going to go ahead and prep this with my powder bag here for embossing, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down, sorry for the extra noise outside, with my VersaMark ink. So I've got my little VersaMark ink pad here. Going to coat this with my ink, stamp this down, and then we're going to go ahead and heat emboss this with some white embossing powder. So I'll go ahead and do all that, and I will be right back. Okay, so we've got our sentiments done. So now I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to go ahead and do my details that I want to do prior to me adhering everything. So I think what I want to do on this one is just do maybe some dots in the middle of the flower. So let's see how that looks. Kind of mimicking maybe a sunflower or something. And make them, you know, smaller or bigger. And I'm barely even touching my pen to the paper. So that's how that's one looking. I don't want to go too far because I'm not too confident on exactly how I want to do this, but I think on this one I've been kind of thinking about it, and I kind of want to do the same. I think I'm just going to do maybe, you know, maybe 3 dots there, and just kind of do some lines right down the middle here. I'm not too confident with my gel pen skills. I know there's been several crafters of videos that I have seen asking, you know, other crafters what they do or how they decide where they put their gel pen highlights, and I think I'm just going to make those a little longer. And I'm one of those people. I'm not very confident in it because I don't want to feel like I mess up what I've already done on my project. So I've got that there. I think I want to add just a few more dots like the other. Kind of round it out. So I think I want to leave it at that before I go too far. And let's see. I wonder if I should, I think what I wanted to do on this one over here is actually kind of outline. I know you probably really can't see it that best on camera. I'm going to outline the circle on this one. And hopefully, let's see. I don't know. I don't know if I love it, but it is what it is. So, I think I'm going to leave it at that. So let's go ahead and adhere the sentiments. I'm going to put the congratulations on this one here. Kind of get my handy dandy tweezers here. I'm just going to add this right here. So get that straight there. Right there. Alright, so I thought it would be fun and different to add them to, both of them to fogged cardstock from Someone Says Stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and prep these by scoring them at 4 1/4. Or excuse me, 5 1/2. Let me get my bone folder here. And by the way, I highly recommend Teflon bone folders. I know they're a little expensive. They're an investment of themselves. But believe me, you know, if you are a card maker that, you know, makes cards on the regular, you will appreciate that bone folder. So let's go ahead and get these onto the cards here. I think I'm just going to use liquid glue and put them straight down onto the cards. So I'm going for clean and simple here. No fuss, although I have done that with the gel pen situation, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this one straight down. Get a nice border all the way around. Get that into place and kind of smooth that down. So we got that one. And the same for this one. I really do love this glue. I have mentioned that in my previous video of the adhesives that I've been really loving lately. And this one here from Art Glitter is a really great one. So I recommend it. So this one I'm going to go ahead and also adhere straight down. This will have a little bit more of a border, but we'll have a little bit more extra detail going on with that stitching. And we're going to call them done. So what do you think, guys? What do you think? I think it's fun. I mean, it's a little bit whimsical, and you know, it's something different. You don't necessarily have to get a full stamp set out. You can use your ink pads. So let's go ahead, and you can, you know, add shimmer or whatever you want to with them to kind of dress them up even more if you wanted to. But those are my cards for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and tutorial and the September installment of Keeping It New with Kari. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any video ideas for future Keeping It New with Kari videos, please go ahead and leave them below in the description bar or comment section down below, and I will be love to read all your comments. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of you, and I will catch you on the next video.